Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 142 for Tuesday, the 1st of November 2022. I'm your host, Mark Webb, Gamertag, Pearson ID, Steam ID, Webby, 360G, and joining me on this very fine evening is...
I didn't have a nap this afternoon, Nick Fights.
And Sensei Switch.
Yay, the crew is back. The crew is back. You know what, I really enjoyed our Xbox 360 special last week. That was so good. And we've had quite a lot of good feedback from it as well. People really enjoyed that one. So I think it was a great shout out to do a part 2 and we're not rushing it. Which is fantastic.
It's like we said on the thing, it basically spanned 2 console generations, didn't it?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? What a console.
It was 8, 9 years, something like that.
Yep.
And I remember screaming for years, I can't wait for next gen, I can't wait for next gen. Well, now I look back and think, I wish it had gone on for longer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's my favourite console, but the 360 PS3 whatever generation is probably the best generation we've ever had for the amount of quality games.
Yeah, the amount and like the diversity of the different games as well. Like there was a lot of weird and wonderful games, experimentations. Yeah. Not quite to the point of the like the Wii shovelware, where you could walk into a petrol station and find like a ton of random weird games you've never heard of in like a bargain bin.
Yeah. Yeah, but it does go to show though that a big proportion of the games from that era are being remastered at the moment, aren't they? Or have been remastered for this gen. So it's definitely the quality there, you know?
That's it. It was a lot of people's first big consoles, a lot of people's first systems as well, a lot of people's first forays into online gaming.
Yeah. So fucking awesome, man. So fucking awesome. Okay, anyway, let's get into modern day stuff. We will be recording our part 2 this weekend. So that's all good. So you won't have to wait much longer for us to talk about a load more 360 stuff for another couple of hours at least.
Drink special.
Whoop whoop. I might even have to do a part 3. Who knows? Can you imagine that? That'd be insane. It really would. Anyway, I haven't really been playing a lot of games, to be honest, but there is one game that's come out, and myself and Nick have been playing it, and I'm surprised Nick picked this up, actually, because he's not normally the sort of dude to play a game on release day. Normally waits a couple of years and then picks it up, and that game is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I know Darren hasn't picked it up, because he's not really a big PvP multiplayer dude. But I don't know about you, Nick, but I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's I'm hooked.
Yeah, I'm getting that way. I've only played it for like 3 or 4 hours, but I'm just like, I'm getting that bug again, like, because basically I hammered Black Ops, the first Black Ops, and then Modern Warfare 3.
Yep.
And then the rest of them, I just sort of played the campaign, a little bit of multiplayer, and thought, well, I've done this before. So I haven't really played a lot, of multiplayer, but this one, I'm just like, oh, yeah, this feels right, this feels slick, and I'm actually killing people, so I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep playing this now. Plus, I don't know why, but even though we're 2 years in, just looking at how it looks and how it's playing, this actually feels like the first next-gen Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Whereas the last couple I've played, it didn't look much better or feel better than the last one, but this one is just so slick and smooth, and how you're playing, and the guns feel, like I say, meaty and stuff. I mean, I'm not actually sure, because you played a lot more. Is this actually got Modern Warfare 2 or however that works? Those maps? Is this what maps are on these? Or
I don't recognise any of the maps on this game at all.
Yeah, because I was having a conversation the other day, which I'm still not sure, because because we had a Modern Warfare 2 and now we've got another Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, because they've rebooted it, haven't they?
So it's because they had Modern Warfare. What was it? 2 years ago.
Yeah,
the one that came with
yeah, it was 2019, I think. Modern Warfare, the first one.
What one are we missing?
Vanguard.
Yeah, but Vanguard. If that was 2021, what was 20?
Oh no, I can't remember the years, man.
Right, there's a one before this, and I don't think they skipped a year. I mean, I think I heard that they might be starting to skip years from next year.
Yes, they are now. They're not doing one next year.
So, but yeah, I can't understand why. So I was explaining to someone, why is that called Modern Warfare? And I said, I don't know. It's Call of Duty. Just play it. But it was a bit of
naming conventions went out years ago, I think.
Yep. Because it's weird because you have like if I look on there, we've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which says this on here, but then you've also got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, haven't we? Which was just like a slight HD reskin. So is this the third whatever?
Yeah, well, this is a redone. Like they just rebooted the Modern Warfares, haven't they?
Yeah, but the camp. I mean, I haven't played the campaign yet. Is that
what?
A completely? I've been busy.
Oh my god!
I heard it's really good this year. Which
Yeah. So
what was the one before I hated? I can't remember. I don't think it was Modern Warfare. That's one I've completely. I'm completely missing a Call of Duty out. That's how much I've wiped it from my memory.
I don't know,
annoying as hell.
But yeah, the campaign for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is absolutely fantastic. It does do like similarities to some of the older maps, like you've got the ghillie mission, the gunship mission, but they're all completely new compared to.
There's no Russian in there.
No, there is no Russian.
Was it no Chinese now?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, so I purchased the game a week. Well, I actually pre-ordered it for the beta, but the campaign came out a week early. So I rinsed the campaign before the multiplayer was even released. Played it through on normal, absolutely loved it. I just thought it was just amazing. Like, in my opinion, it is the best Call of Duty campaign that they've done. It is that good.
Ooh, gonna have to play that.
Yeah, the story's really good. The levels are done really, really well. And it's just that classic Call of Duty style. But they've revamped it a little bit because you've got a few sneaky missions which you don't usually get in the CODs. And then
Is Captain Price in it?
Yes, and
lovely.
But they add, like in some of the levels, they add a backpack. So you have a backpack and you've got different things that you can use in some of the levels. And then in some of the levels you have to make things. I don't want to go into it too much for people that haven't played it yet. But if you own Modern Warfare 2 and you've not played the campaign, you need to play it. It is fucking awesome. But the reason I wanted to get the campaign done on the week early was because I wanted to get it done so then I could pump my time into the multiplayer. Because when you for all the missions you do in the campaign, you get unlocks for the multiplayer. So you get guns, attachment, well not attachments, guns, XP bonuses for the multiplayer, and some operators as well. So it's worth doing it for that. But anyway,
did you get the ultimate thingy edition or just the basic
so I
one?
bought the so this is the good thing, right? And this is how much I love the game. Right, so I bought the Vault Edition is what it's called on Steam, which was, what did I pay for it? 80 quid. Was it 70? 70 or 80? I think it was 80. Anyway, so the Vault Edition gave you the extra XP and the extra operators and all that jazz. And then when the Battle Pass comes out in a couple of weeks, you get 50 tier skips on that, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so I finished the campaign on PC. And then I was like, oh, if I'm having an evening session and my missus wants to come to bed, I'm going to be stuffed because my PC's in the bedroom. So I used my Bing points and I bought the game again on Xbox. So I actually own it twice now. So I restarted the campaign on Xbox on Veteran, and I've done about half the game now on Veteran.
What Xbox are you playing it on, those?
Series X. So I actually have installed it on my Series S because I just wanted to see the difference. And it looks so shit on the Series S. It's really blurry. Yeah, it just doesn't look good at all. Very washed out. And I was just like, oh, and I was thinking to myself, I feel so sorry for people that have a Series S as their main console because the games just look fucking awful on it. They really do.
Yeah, but those people probably don't care, do they? That's why
Well,
they've
they
got
probably
the
don't know
Series
the
S.
difference, and I think the thing for me is just because I've been playing it on PC, Series X, and then on the Series S, it was just like I noticed a difference straight away.
Which is the best version then?
Oh, PC, of course, much, I'd say much better on the multiplayer because you get the higher frame rates. But when I was playing the campaign, there wasn't really any difference in the graphics. I'd say, to be honest, like between the PC and the Xbox version, which is really really good. Because obviously the Series X is a fantastic console anyway, and it's it pumps out the graphics. So so it's a good version to be playing it on as well. So,
yeah, I got confused because I said I posted on Facebook group I wanted to buy it because for some reason my dad said, "Oh, Call of Duty's out on Friday." I went, "Yeah, I know." I said, "He said, you buying it?" I go, "Nah," and he said, "Yes, you are." And then he just gave me like 60 quid. So I'm like,
oh what?
"Oh,
Oh, nice.
I'm like, oh, what's this? It's not my birthday or Christmas." And he said, "Do you want me to take the money back?" I was like, "No, mine." So that's why I was like, that's why I had like the day before I had to try and buy, and it confused me a little bit because last year's Call of Duty was a bit weird, and there was two different versions, weren't there? For Xbox, you had it where it said the one I had to get, which was Series X/Xbox One.
It's a cross platform bundle, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is now. But I'm about last year's wasn't. You had to buy the one that had Series X first, then a /Xbox One, whereas you could buy one that said Xbox One/Series X. The only difference was the title, but then you got a code in the box to give you the next gen like patch download, if you see what I mean, which was like a tenner. So obviously I didn't want to get confused, and a lot of the pre-orders, some of them just said Xbox One, some said Series X. But I think someone said, "Oh, it says smart delivery," which means it picks that. So I don't know why they've changed and not charging you an extra tenner for the new version like they did. Like maybe they didn't get a lot of people pay last year, but it does seem, like I said, it normally happens with most console generations, but that's when they release the ports on the old gen, not because this is basically the same game on both, innit? But normally it takes a year or two where you can see they're actually making the game specifically for the new console and then just down res and just rushing whatever out for the old. But it seems the last year they've made it for the old gen consoles and just polished it up a little bit and just chucked it on the new machines. So I think we're finally into next gen. Well, with Call of Duty, I don't know about the rest of the games, but because I haven't played many, because I don't play them on the old ones now. But
nah, retro now, mate.
yeah, oh yeah, my retro.
So,
and also I remember that call. That was Cold War, the one I was forgetting.
Oh yeah, that was very good.
Exactly, that's why I forgot it.
Yeah. So yeah, the campaign is fantastic. So I don't think there's anything else I can really say on that without giving spoilers. Multiplayer wise, there's so many positives, but I want to get a couple of the negatives out of the way first. So the game is launched without a couple of things. So if you played the beta, there was a museum map in the game, which was really, really good. However, me and Gavin noticed that we hadn't played it in rotation on the multiplayer in the full game. And then a couple of days ago, it came out in the news that they've had to take that map out of the full game because they didn't have permission from the museum owners to have it in the game. And they don't want it in the game, so it's been pulled out, which is a little bit annoying. But also, there's another multiplayer map in the game, which is a hotel, and it's actually based on a real hotel. Now the hotel management have come out and said, "Oh, they're not really happy about it." So it's still in the game, but if they can't come to an agreement, I imagine that might be pulled, which I think is a bit of a Nubenstein move to have these maps in the game but not get permission. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I mean, normally they just put, this is the work of, at the start of the game, this is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to real life places is coincidental and stuff like that. But just how it is now, like this hotel, I mean, maybe they changed the name so they didn't say the name, but if it's so obviously that hotel, and especially if it's in like America and they have a shooting there at some point in the next few weeks or something like that, then that could think, oh, well, that's because it was the Call of Duty. Blame the Call of Duty.
It's a European country. I can't remember which fucking country it is now, top of my head, but yeah. But yeah, no, I get what.
Yeah, but that's what people are like. They'd rather not even risk having anything to do with that rather than that. Do you know what I mean? I see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But
also, so as I mentioned, there's hardcore mode hasn't launched with the game, which I'm sure has upset a few people because I personally know quite a lot of Call of Duty players that only play hardcore mode.
Is that one below veteran? Is it?
No, hardcore mode or multiplayer. I'm talking about multiplayer.
Oh,
hardcore mode, so you don't get any mini maps and it's quicker to kill people and you basically got no HUD. Yeah.
Oh, right. So it's just the screen. Oh, cool. I never knew that existed. So it doesn't bother me.
And basically, it's like one shot kills most of the time. So, but apparently it is going to come into the game at some point. I did read today that the reason it was omitted from the game is because it had some bugs. So, we'll wait for that to come out properly. Also, I just want to have a little moan about the customization options in the multiplayer. There doesn't seem to be a lot in there. So, as an example, I'm going to give is basically, like in the Call of Duty games, you can customize your multiplayer profile with emblems and like flags and shit like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is hardly anything there. So for the flags as a prime example, right? You usually get like all the countries' flags. So there's like at least like 50 banners which which flags you can choose from, like England, America, Spain, or wherever. They've got none of that in there. No countries' flags at all. Zero.
Do you think they haven't done that because they didn't want publicity for saying not having the Russian one in there or something like that? So they just thought, well, we take the lot out.
No, I don't think so at all. So basically,
just an idea.
So basically, it's a Call of Duty game, right? And if you haven't unlocked any of the banners through gameplay or the single player, whatever, you've basically got a choice of 4 banners which are normal and 12, I think it's like 12 LGBT flags, all the different rainbow flags. And it's like, what the fuck?
Like the TV show Rainbow was on years ago, those type of flags.
It's like
Zippy and all that.
It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like, it's a Call of Duty game for a start, and you're like pushing umpteen fucking LGBT flags onto the community to use instead of fucking national flags and other customization options. It's just fucking retarded. Yeah? It's like, So are you serious right now? You've given me 6 normal flags and like fucking 15 different LGBT flags to choose from. It's insanity, in my opinion. It really is.
Yeah, most
So,
people only have the sort of country flags. It's like to represent the countries they're playing in or where
yeah,
they live.
yeah,
Okay, that so
So
you
it's not
know
like
who
they're
they
being
are.
like supremely
yeah,
nationalistic or whatever,
yeah.
which might be one of the reasons why they haven't included them. I don't know.
It's just odd because every other COD has had it, you know. And I've always had the Union Jack on there, so people know I'm from the UK when I kill them. Yeah. I don't need an LGBT flag to let people know I'm a fucking trans and I'm killing them and teabagging them. You know what I mean? It's just odd. You know what I mean? So
And then when you
yeah,
kill someone and you see their flag, you can give them grief for being from that country.
Did
I mean, it
they
won't.
used to have the different flags for the military organisations like SAS, Marines,
yeah, they
all
got
that
none of
kind of
that,
stuff?
none of that at all.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, it is
Probably
just
come in the new battle pass or something when they come out.
yeah, it just seems like there's just quite a bit missing from it at the moment, which is a little bit of a shame, to be honest. Um,
Probably
yeah, I'm
trying to
just
make sure all the servers are stable and stuff because I heard they were having a bit of an issue. But considering
yeah,
this is supposedly the best-selling Call of Duty ever, it's no surprise that the servers were
yeah.
jam-packed.
All right, so okay, I'm gonna go through right. So, because I'm on COD right now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got 13 calling cards, which I would consider, just like kind of normalish and all that. But 2 of those are beta ones. So if you didn't play the beta, you wouldn't have got those. And 2 of those you won't have unless you've purchased the Call of Duty Endowment expansion, which I bought as well. LGBT flags, and I know it sounds like I'm making an issue out of this, but it's just like I'm just making an issue because there's not enough fucking customization options for like flags, in my opinion. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 different pride flags.
It's one for each of the new genders, mate.
It's insane. 22 LGBT pride flags and like hardly any other flags at all calling cards in the game. It's just crazy.
I mean,
It
to be fair,
really
I haven't
is.
got a problem putting those flags in and putting all
No, I don't have a
whatever.
problem
But
with
to
them in there.
take away the original ones and put those in instead, that just seems an odd choice. I don't know why you would take that away and put that there. That's like McDonald's deciding to take away all, the burgers and the chicken and just put everything vegetarian and vegan. I'm like, I haven't got a problem with vegetarian and vegan. Sometimes, their food is quite nice at some point. But why would you take away that for that instead? It's a weird choice.
It is
But,
insane.
yeah.
It really is. I'm going to stop going on about it now, but it's just I do think it's a little bit of an annoyance. Anyway, I want to talk about the different multiplayer options as well, which you might not have played, Nick. All of there's
Are you
3
playing on Xbox right now or PC?
PC.
Yeah, because
I'm
Xbox just kicked me out of the game for a 30 gig update. So I'm
all
like,
right.
what?
So there's different
30
modes.
gig.
So at the moment, we've got co-op on there. So there's 3 different co-op levels, which are all set on the new Warzone map, which is quite cool. So you get to see the map, the new Warzone map, when you're parachuting into the different areas of the co-op. So there's 3 co-op missions. They're all just 2-player. I think they might be adding more in the future. I don't know. But I've managed to complete all 3 of them with Gav, which was awesome. But we only managed to get, so you can get them out of 3 stars, and I managed to get 2 stars on 2 of the missions, and then 1 star on the other one. and they're all completely different, which is really cool. So you've got a nighttime one, which you have to go in quiet, and then you've got one where you've got to just destroy some SAM sites, and you've got another one which is just defend an area. The low profile one in the dark is my favourite one, and they're all really, really good, and they do have some replayabilities because it's got weeklies on there, so you get weekly stars, and you've got kits which you unlock, so like an assault tier, medic tier, and a recon tier, and they'll give you different buffs. And apparently, the more you play this co-op mode, then the more you unlock. It gives you unlocks for the new DMZ mode when it comes out in a couple of weeks, when Warzone 2.0 comes out. So the DMZ mode is like Call of Duty's answer to Tarkov, where you have teams of you going onto the map, and you got to collect X amount of loot and then get out without dying, because if you die, you lose the kit you've brought in with you, your weapons and all your loot and stuff. So, yeah, it's quite interesting that mode. But yeah, the co-op's really, really fun, and I really recommend people do that. It's really, really good. Multiplayer wise, I'm loving the multiplayer. I'm loving the selection of maps. My favourite map by far is the Formula One map, which is a recreation of the Singapore track, which is really, really cool. So it's set at night, so you've got all the neon lights and the big wheel and stuff, which is really, really cool. A majority of my time I play quick play, so like team deathmatch, domination, headquarters, kill confirmed, and hardpoint are the ones that I really enjoy playing, because I like to have a little bit of teamwork involved on that. I've not played the third person mode because it's Call of Duty. We play first person. And they've got another mode called Prisoner Rescue, which I played in the beta and didn't really like, where basically it's a bit like Rainbow Six, where you got one team who are keeping the prisoners and got to stop the other team from rescuing them.
It sounds like it's a twist on. Do you remember like VIP?
Yeah, pretty much. And then you've got some other modes. You've got Ground War, which is like Battlefield, where it's the map's big, and you've got loads of bots in there as well. And you've got another mode called Invasion, which I can't actually remember what happens in that, because I don't think I've actually given that a boss yet. But yeah, as I say, I'm mostly playing the just the normal mode, the quick play modes, as I said. But already I've had some really good gamer nights with people: Colin, Peeps, Gavin, Darkest Frost, and loads of other people from the community. We've had some really good evenings on there, just chatting shit and poning noobs. I'm loving it, man. Absolutely loving it. On Steam, it says I've played it for 29 hours, and then on the Xbox, I've got about another 20 hours on it. So
is it cross progression, or have you got two different profiles on it?
So this is the really good thing about it, and that I forgot to mention actually. So I bought it on PC, and it links to your Battle.net account. So when I loaded it up on the Xbox, obviously my Xbox gamer tag, my Xbox profile is linked to my Battle.net account. So as soon as I logged in on Xbox, my level was there from PC, and all my progression was there. Like, it even saves all your weapon loadouts to the cloud as well. So I make a loadout on the PC, I fire the game up on my Xbox, and it's all there as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And the other good thing as well is I bought the Vault Edition on PC, so it gives you the extra operators and all the other bits and pieces, and that's all pulled over to the Xbox version as well. So I didn't have to buy that twice, which is really
Nice.
really good. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it, and I'm liking this new way of gaming in that way, because back in the day you wouldn't be able to do that. And I know I'm kind of a rare use case in this, but because I've got the game on 2 different systems, and the fact I can chop and change between PC and Xbox and still have all my progression stuff carried over is absolutely fantastic. And I imagine it would be the same going from Xbox to PlayStation or vice versa. It would all carry over because it's your online account. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a really cool thing, and it's got them two sales from me. So it's fantastic. I'm not really sure what else
I
I
can't
can
believe
say
you
on it.
bought it twice, though. It's terrible.
I know, but it's just the fact that I know that I've already had it where I say the missus has come to bed at like, I don't know, say 11, and I'm like, I still want to play, so I just go downstairs and I play till like 2 in the morning, which I have done already this week a few times. So yeah, it's just Bing points, man. Bing points. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, saying that, I bought Cold War twice, didn't I, digitally? That's because I accidentally redeemed it on the wrong email address. So that's why.
Oh no.
It was a dodgy Turkish one that was cheap, so I couldn't exactly phone Xbox and say, "Oh, I tried to cheat you out of the system and did it wrong. Can you give it back to me?" Because I'm pretty sure the answer would have been sod off.
That's funny. Right, so anyway, let's. I'm sure we'll be talking about COD in a couple of weeks' time. So, Darren, let's go to you because me and Nick have been blabbling on about COD for ages.
Yeah.
So, just talk to us about something that you've been playing, my man.
I'll talk about one of the new games that I played for a bit, although I still haven't got out of the area I was in from the demo. And that was Star Ocean, the new Star Ocean.
Oh yes, I did mention it to you in. I'm sure I mentioned it to you on our WhatsApp actually that it come out.
Yeah, it was due out the same day as 2 other games I've picked up but haven't actually got around to playing.
Oh wow.
Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
Still haven't started, and obviously I've got the Winter's expansion for RE8 as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, just before you carry on, Dan, let's just talk about Bayonetta 3, because I know we briefly mentioned it in the outtakes of last week, I believe, about the voice actor. What's it called? The voice actor stuff.
Elena Taylor, is it?
Yeah. So she went out on Twitter saying, "Oh, boycott Bayonetta 3. They only offered me three grand for the game, and they make millions. Blah blah blah." And it turned out to be a load of shit.
Yeah, and she's tried to backpedal and forward pedal, and she still thinks she's in. I think they said that was about 3 to 4 grand per recording session, and they were going to need
at least 3 or 4.
Well, they said at least 4 or 5. So basically, she was going to get closer to $20,000. And if you think that's a week's work, it's not that bad, is it?
Yeah.
But I think, because I was trying to think, I think that's Jason Schreier. I think they went out to him, who does a lot of video game stuff, and they actually put the contract. They leaked or gave the contract to him.
Oh,
basically,
wow.
Basically she tried to strong arm them into giving her like nearly $1 million. Sales of the game, pretty much.
She wanted residuals, didn't she?
Yeah, residuals as well, but she wanted at least $1 million. And I'm like, I get you get, as much as you can get, and that's sort of how it works in the workplace with things like that. But what did you think they were going to do? I mean, it's not like she was well known before this. It's just not like she's a really well known, famous person, compared to other people. I mean, they could just get any sort of posh British woman to do that voice acting, couldn't they? There's a lot of those about. They'll probably get Elizabeth Hurley. She's not doing much just lately.
But asking for residuals, I can see that becoming more prevalent in the future as we get into sort of obviously more games, and I do believe you are going to get more actors actually going into gaming and lending their appearance and voices to characters and such.
Yeah.
But for something that's as niche as Bayonetta, I mean, it still sells reasonably well, but it's not like a massive selling game. it still
Mm,
only has like a very small audience of people who actually like it. So yeah, I can see any company basically being like, no, you're asking far too much here.
yeah. Yeah, 'cause
But
you can
then
get like an
it's
A-list
come
celebrity
back
for
and
that sort of money, innit? Like $1 million
yeah,
or whatever.
it's really come back and bitten her in the arse. I don't think she's really going to get much voiceover work after this now.
No, I mean you got to be very. I mean you got to be very careful what you say on social media anyway. And when you're getting that much of a following from that, and then you make yourself look stupid, and you've had millions of people know about it. You know, she's in a struggle to get work now for sure.
Yeah, well, it was the main fact of like, yeah, you can have your grievances with whatever went down, but then going out onto social media in front of like hundreds
Yeah,
of thousands, if not millions of people, and telling them to boycott the game,
yeah,
that was the step too far. Because
yeah,
if you're a company, you're like, hold on, you're trying to cost us like hundreds of thousands of sales of the game. I
yeah,
think everyone now has basically backtracked and been like, no, I'm buying it again. Like I did laugh
yeah.
when there were all these people going, oh, I'm going to boycott it, and I just thought, no, if it's a game you want, just get it.
Well,
There
yeah,
aren't
and as I say,
many
you're only
amazing
taking
games that come out these days, so you might as well grab the ones when you can.
yeah, but also like if you're gonna say that, you're only taking one side of the story. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
I
it
mean,
sounded fishy, didn't it, when
yeah, I
old
mean,
Cameo came out and said, like, no, that's not really what went down. I don't really want to say too much.
I'm
Because
pretty
Yeah,
sure
obviously,
I said with you there, Webby, when we said a few 2-3 weeks ago, and I said that's only one side of the story, and as it always takes two to tango, and I'll just wait and see what happens in the next few days or weeks, and yeah,
yeah, yeah,
turns out it's just she's a bit salty because she didn't get the money she wanted, and instead of and being greedy, trying to strong arm a company into getting all that money, she's basically forced herself into retirement.
I know it's crazy, isn't it? It
No,
really is.
you can't be saying things like that and putting it out on social media and not expecting thing. A lot of companies have stuff like that. Policies. I mean, even my company, they're relatively small. They don't like you putting stuff about them on social media. They said we would rather you not mention work's name or put any
well,
pictures
that's it. Yeah,
of work on
she's
social
lucky.
media.
She's lucky that Platinum didn't like try and do her for
Sue her.
slander or
Yeah, they
libel.
could have sued her, mate, because she
Libel, yeah.
literally lied to them and
Yeah,
tried to cost them money. That they were within their right to do that if they wanted to, and I wouldn't hold it against them because why do that? Because like I
yeah.
said before, when old Kiefer Sutherland did Metal Gear Solid and not the usual bloke, he came out just wished him well and said, "I hope the game's good." And maybe one day he could voice it again, and that'd be an honour to do that. He didn't come out slagging everyone off, did he?
No,
I heard the
no,
original rumor was
It's not
he,
professional, is it?
he
no.
wanted Kurt Russell to actually voice the character.
Awesome.
Because it's Snake, isn't it? It's based on the guy from the Escape to New York and Escape from LA and all that stuff.
Or
That's what the
inspired
inspiration was
by
from,
sort of
yeah.
thing. But
And Kojima's a huge film buff, so
Yeah. Anyway, tell us about Star Ocean, Darren. It's a game that I mean I personally like the Star Ocean games, so I'm quite
it's
keen.
really enjoyable actually. The story I think in this one's going to get quite fantastical. It's obviously going to go into it's very space opera.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously involves like different people from different planets, etc., and federations and all that kind of stuff you get with science fiction, etc. I've only played the first hour and 10 minutes or so of it,
Mm-hmm.
so I've basically just sort of like got to the crash site of one of the pods because at the start, basically you're on a ship, gets attacked, everyone jettisons off. And you all like crash land on this new planet where it seems like the technology is more primitive. So the people in this place, like the original people you bump into, like are sort of like swords and chakrams kind of wielding people. They don't use
Right.
blasters or things like that.
Okay.
etc. But the combat reminds me very much in the style of, I'd say, like Xenoblade.
Oh, okay.
In a
So it's
sense, you
like
go
auto
around.
attack, and then
Yeah,
you
you get, well,
choose.
not necessarily auto attack, but you'll go around and in an open world, and then you get the enemies are on the map. It's not like you
Yeah.
run along and get the old, and
Yeah, I know
it
what you
just
mean.
takes you into a battle
Yeah.
screen where you're like
Hmm.
in with them. So you can sort of charge in and get surprise attacks on enemies, which give you like stun bonuses to them. And when you're attacking, you basically get like action points, and each move you use uses a segment of action points. When you're
Okay.
in combat, you can level up and buy new abilities. You can level up those abilities using points and stuff you get from leveling, etc. You've got like the old traditional skill trees where you've got to buy the accompanying node to unlock the node next to it.
Oh
So
yeah,
if there's
yeah.
certain skills and things you want, you've got to work your way across the board the way you want. But it seems each one of those nodes can be leveled up as well.
Okay, that sounds quite good.
It looks like you get a pretty big party of characters eventually in this, because I think the cover of the game's got at least 8 or 9 on it, and I think from the trailers I've seen, there seems to be like around 10 or so characters that you can change members, switch between, etc. I'm not too sure how many you can have in a party at once, whether it's just 3 or whether it goes up to like 4 or something.
Okay.
But after the initial hour, you'll unlock like this other thing, which gives you another ability to traverse around the world a lot easier, and also unlocks and opens up new moves and attacks you can do on enemies, like surprise them from above and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And the music's
What's
really
the?
cool as well.
Ah, yeah, nice. What I was just going to ask you, what's the graphics like? Could you know my graphics score?
They're fairly decent. They're not what I'd say next gen, but like, because originally the thing that threw me off of this when they announced the trailer is they have kind of a weird style to them, like the characters, the look of the
Yeah,
characters,
yeah.
etc. They're not like typical JRPG. They're sort of like a stylized version of it. But once you get used to that, it's actually pretty cool and suits them well, I'd say. And it does make a change that they're not just like the usual sort of character designs that you get
Okay.
from most games, etc. I think this is going to be one that you will like when you actually sort of like get to play it and test it out. Like, so there's a demo for it on the consoles, so you can always
Mhm.
try that out and see what it's like from
Yeah.
that. But it's got performance mode and graphics mode and all that lot, so you
Yeah.
can like prioritize frame rate or prioritize resolution,
Nice.
etc. I'm obviously doing it on frame rate, and it still looks pretty fantastic.
Excellent.
Nice,
Yeah.
sharp, and colourful.
Yeah. I just think that the problem for me is I don't know if Nick's the same. It's just because Call of Duty is such a big game, and there's just so much, like, especially in a couple of weeks when Warzone comes out with all the extra options. There's just going to be so much to do. I mean, there's already so much to do in Call of Duty now. It's just kind of that addiction at the minute, and it just doesn't seem to be room for any other game at the moment. You know what I mean? So it's just
Mm.
hard to, like, when you got a game like Call of Duty on the go, it's really hard to get to sink your teeth into a good JRPG. You know what I mean? Because you know that it's going to be a time sink.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether the game sold particularly well or did great, because it's like a JRPG. Again, it's got a smaller audience than sort of most things, and the fact it came out on the same day as Call of Duty is a
Yeah,
detriment to any game's release, to be honest.
yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
Bayonetta, that will still do well because at the end of the day, that was on the Switch, and as far as I'm aware, Call of Duty isn't on the Switch.
Yeah,
So that was, if you own a Switch, that was the game to get last week. But if you've
yeah,
got the other systems, then it was probably Call of Duty for a lot of people.
yeah. I'm sure Dan's picked it up already.
Oh, Bayonetta, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying that out and seeing what that's actually like. I've heard it gets pretty batshit. Um, it also managed to upset a lot of journalists last week as well.
Oh, why is that?
There's like a big LGBT following for the game for some reason. It's kind of weird, even though Bayonetta dresses the way she does, and it's obviously very centralised.
Mm-hmm.
People were always like, "Oh well, she's like representing the LGBT or whatever, so it's perfectly fine."
Right.
And then it came out this week. A couple of journalists were pissed off when it was basically acknowledged that she's not LGBT. She's straight,
It's a
and a
fucking
load of people
game
lost their
character,
shit.
man.
Yeah, a load of it. Well, these people want validation for their own lives, don't they? Through characters in other things
So
for some
bizarre.
reason. So that wound up a load of people, and I was just sitting on the internet like laughing at it for a few days while the discourse went on. It's just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, so it's like, all right, so that was perfectly fine because you thought she was like persuaded in another direction. But like, if you'd have known from the start, then you'd have probably attacked it for being too sexy or whatever. It's like, what the fuck? Like, again, double standards, I guess.
Yeah.
With a lot of things, but fuck it.
It's the way it is, mate.
Anyway, Nick, might as well move on to you now, mate.
Yeah, right. I've only played a few games this week.
This year.
I hope you've played more than a few games. It's November, mate.
Yeah, so I'm playing a really new game from 2010. It was Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Yes.
Because it's now came out on Game Pass, but this one is like the collector's edition or whatever it's called. So there's actually the Dark Descent and then like the 2 expansions as well.
It's quite old, isn't it?
Yeah, 2010, I think it came out. That's why I said from 2010. And but there's also another one on there which is Amnesia Rebirth and Soma, which is not Amnesia, but it's like a spiritual successor by the same people. Yeah. But obviously, I paid for them a month ago rather than get them on Game Pass because that's what happens. I buy games, and then 3 weeks later they go on to Game Pass. So, and you know, if I don't buy them, they don't seem to go on to Game Pass. But it's just Xbox messing with me. But yeah, I was playing it because it's supposed to be, you know, a little bit, you know, one of those scary walk around in the dark things, and it's Halloween recently, and you know, I thought, oh, maybe I'll jump, which obviously I didn't do any jump scares at all when I was playing it, you know, because I wouldn't. But yeah, it's all right. I mean, the game's a bit dark, but then being called the Dark Descent, that's probably why. You know, it's a normal sort of walking sim. You walk around solving puzzles, picking stuff up, you know, putting stuff there. But you've got like a little lamp and little matches that, you know, so you can light stuff up. But basically you have to stay in or around the light. If not, basically you start to lose your sanity and the world starts sort of getting dizzy and stuff like that. And basically, I think if you get too far into that, which I don't think I have done yet, I think basically monsters then start chasing you.
Oh, spooky.
And then you have to run away and stuff like that. But I think they turn up in set pieces in the games as well. You know, as well like that. But like obviously, so you got your lamp, but you got to fill it up with oil. Use matches to light things around. But I mean, I was enjoying it mostly. I mean, the first stream, like I did a puzzle. I was like, how does this work? And I'm reading, you know, like because you pick up, you know, like letters and texts that tells you how to do stuff. And I was trying to work out where to put these 3 rods, you know, which hole to put them in. And you know, it's always difficult to know which hole to put it in. But I was like, oh well, this isn't right. And then I was reading it. I was like, it's clicked. So then I worked it out. And then it works, and I just go, I feel really smart now, and that never normally happens. But that was fun. But then Sunday night, I was streaming it for 2 hours, and I must have been actually making progress for half an hour at best. And then I just walked around for an hour and a half getting really pissed off because I was completely Googling because I'm on Twitch, and I don't want people to think I don't know what I'm doing. Even though I don't most of the time. But plus, with these types of games, if you Google and it tells you exactly what to do, then it's kind of a little bit pointless to play the game, because then you might as well just watch someone else play it. But then like I said, for about an hour and a half, got really, really lost and pissed off because I was like, I've done everything. There's nowhere to go, because it does the thing where once you get to a certain part, like the wall behind you will collapse, or it won't let you go back.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to go all the way back to do something. Once you progress to a certain area, you're stuck in that area until you get to the next area. And I did cheat or, Google on YouTube just to see what I'd done wrong, because I thought, well, I can't, if I spent an hour and a half doing it, that's either something so difficult or stupid or simple, and I'm simple. But what annoys me is I actually did it, what they wanted me to do, but for some reason, I don't know if the game was glitched, but there's a bit, if people have played it, but you open a trap door and you see these cogs up the top, and I'm like, oh, they should be spinning. And it was above like a torture table, so I actually stacked some boxes up, and I went back and watched the VOD as well, so I know I'm not like, crazy. So I stood up on the table and these boxes, and you know where you like put the crosshair on something, it brings up the prompt to say you can interact with it, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, it just didn't. It didn't come up. So I'm jumping up. I'm trying to press the button. I was like, well, these cogs aren't doing anything. What's going on? And so then I just walked around for ages, just getting a bit more frustrated. But then obviously because I'm walking around with my lamp, I then ran out of all the oil. So then I'm walking around in the dark instead as well. And then, so like I said, I looked on YouTube and I was watching the bloke sort of play it where I got up to. So I just fast forwarded it. I was like, and then I watched him doing what I do. I went, no, I did that. That's not how you do it. And then he clicked on it and it worked. So I'm like, motherfucker. So then last night I streamed it again, but I rebooted the from scratch because I had it in, quick start or whatever that is, on Xbox.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was a glitch, but I started again, loaded the save up, walked straight up to that bit, and it worked first time. I was like,
oh, no
and
way.
a few people were in, so it must have been a glitch or something, or because first time it worked. I was like, but I tried that. I remember my mate Andy, who was in chat. He's like, but you did that yesterday and it didn't work. I was like, I know. So then, I played that yesterday, and I think I'm maybe an hour or so left into it. I couldn't quite finish it last night because, well, I was sleepy.
You were too scared.
I was too scared, mate.
Yeah.
I don't get scared, Webby. What's that? Oh, sorry, it's my shadow. But but no, I don't. Jump scares, they're just cheap scares, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, all they do is just, because I'm doing it on Twitch and I'm wearing headphones, it just blasts loud noise into your ears, and that'd make anyone jump, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's irrelevant to what's on the thing, but some of the stuff in that is quite, if you listen to it and read the text, because the bit I've now got up to is basically that where they were torturing people and showing, and you'd like hear them like screaming, and there's a bloke who probably deserved it, where they sort of tied him up upside down, got a giant, one of those saws, what they do for logs and stuff for two people.
Saw
Just
blade.
but cut him in half, and I'm like, yeah, what he done probably deserved it, but I didn't need to hear the screams and stuff like that. And then you have to collect his blood underneath. I'm not sure why, but that's what I had to do. But so sometimes you have items and you have to combine them to do other things and things like that. But it's not a bad game. Apparently, because my mate played Rebirth, which is like the newer version, and apparently that's a lot more straightforward and simple compared to that. That wasn't as difficult as, it gives you a bit more of an idea where you're supposed to go. Have you played any of these, Webby?
No, I was just going to say, because there's another one called Machine for Pigs as well, which is...
this is the one that's in the thing. It's the Dark Descent, Machine for Pigs, and another one. I think they're basically expansions, but...
I know Machine for Pigs is a separate game.
Well, it's part of the Amnesia collection.
Yeah, but it was originally a separate game, so I'm pretty sure it's just a separate game in the collection. No, right. I actually own them all on Steam. Never played them, and then obviously they've come out to Game Pass, and still not yet to play them because it's never got round to it. But there's always some games I've been interested in playing. Yeah. All good, man. All good. All right, is it my go?
Yep, your turn.
All right, so I've been playing this game on Xbox, just completely out the blue. So I was sitting downstairs on the Xbox, just flicking through games just to play with my boy, just some couch co-op games, and there's surprisingly very few games, couch co-op games on the Xbox, which is a little bit of a shame. Which are kid friendly. So I was just having a look through, and we come across a game in which my boy just chose from the picture called Totally Reliable Delivery Service. And I'll tell you what, it's fucking awesome. It's so good. So basically, I mean, he's hooked on it. He calls it the silly game, the silly man game, because I think it's from the same team that did Totally Real Battle Simulator or something like that. So basically, your characters you can hardly control them, and it's meant to be that way. They're like Play-Doh people, yeah. And you control each arm. You can control each arm individually with the left or right bumper, or if you press down the right trigger, you can grab things with both. But basically, the aim is you're in this world. It's an open world, and you got to deliver parcels. But you get like really funny objects, and it's quite good with the physics. So basically, like for example, you'll get like a round parcel, and you need to deliver it in this truck, but it has no sides on the truck. So if you drive really fast, it will just roll out the back of the truck. Yeah, so you need to really work together to deliver these parcels. But there's loads of vehicles like helicopters, planes, different cars and stuff like that, and they all, handle like really shit, and that's what makes it really funny. Like my boy's been in hysterics. Like I've been trying to just the simple act of picking up a parcel and putting it in the back of the truck, and it's taking me 5 minutes to bloody do it. Just falling over, and getting a bit frustrated. Like, come on, why won't it go in? And it's like rolling out the back. Like I finally get this parcel into the helicopter as an example, and then I start flying and I lean a bit too much forward, and it just rolls out. And he's like, and he's laughing so much. I'm just like getting a little bit frustrated, but laughing at the same time. It's got quite a lot of unlocks in it as well. Like you can unlock more areas in the world, and you don't just have to deliver parcels. There's like little challenges you can do, like fly through like loads of rings in a helicopter or a plane, or there's like loads of little mini games and stuff. It's just a good laugh, really. It's just silly, it's got really like silly graphics, like Play-Doh type graphics, all very simple. And the music is just very silly as well. If I can't really explain it, but it's just as you're walking along, it just sounds really silly, and it just adds to the whole aesthetic of the game. Yeah. So yeah, I highly recommend it just for a laugh. It is so funny. You can play it online as well. So I've jumped into a few online games, and it's like four of you all running around and trying to do these deliveries. It's really, really good. So yeah, that's our silly game that me and Marcus have been playing, and like every day he's like, "Dad, you want to play that silly game again? That silly game." Oh yeah, all good. Next.
Nice. Shall I talk about the usual shit?
Go on then, yeah, because I've cancelled my subscription to Final Fantasy at the minute because I'm not playing it, but I noticed there was an update today.
Yeah, that wasn't. That was, I think, one that was just adding new data centers and doing a few
Right.
more balancing to the actual game. So there was a few skills that got like buffed for
Right.
different classes, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember if I was on since the last update, which was the one that added in like the new Mandible relic weapons and the new dungeon, Criterion dungeon. I haven't tried that out yet, which is dungeons where you can actually choose your route throughout the dungeon.
Well, that's quite cool.
So you get like different types of runs, and then you've got different versions of it. You've got like a hard version and a savage one. I think certain ones you need pre-made groups before queuing up to go in, etc.
Oh, okay.
But I will say the Hildebrand quest had like some of the funniest cutscenes I've seen yet from that.
Oh, brilliant.
I was like actually laughing out loud during a lot of those.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to making a
and
comeback again then at some point.
yeah, and the relic weapons are really easy to get as well. You just need to be
fantastic.
up to date on the Hildebrand story and pretty much go somewhere, speak to someone, and spend 1,500 of these tomes. Not the tomes that you've got the weekly cap on, but the ones just below it.
Oh, okay.
And you just get like the first stage of each class's relic. Everyone was expecting them to look a bit weird and strange because they're obviously tied to the whole Mandible thing.
Right.
But they're not. They look to me, in my opinion, as like rejected artifact gear designs.
Oh, okay.
Like with every expansion, you usually get like artifact gear for each class, which is like basically like the new standard gear for that class.
Yeah.
Which you usually unlock when you reach a high level in it. And these weapons look like they were kind of tied into that at one point, because they're all very sort of like attuned, we'll say, for the jobs. They don't look like stupid and out of place. So the bard one I got looks like a giant harp.
Oh, nice.
Sort of a like bow thing, which they've done before, but it's been tweaked and changed a little bit enough to make it look different. So it'd be interesting to see what the next stages of that are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no continuation of the story yet. It'll be the next update. Will be the one that adds a brand new 24-man raid and stuff to it, which should get interesting. If you've done obviously the more recent one, you're actually fighting gods.
Yes. Yeah, that is
and there was some
cool,
pretty interestingly done fights during that as well.
It's cool.
So yeah, that's that 14. Still logging in on it and still tending to my farm. Have you let all your animals starve to death?
Pretty much, yeah. Just like I always get to a point of fun. I mean, I love Final Fantasy 14. You know, it's my most played game of all time. But I always get to a point where I just like, because I pumped so many hours into it in such a short amount of time, then I'm just like, yeah, that's me done for a while.
You get burnout,
and then I come back a couple of months later. You know, just because there's so many games
valid
to play.
way of playing it.
Yeah.
That's why they've kind of done the game in the way they have. It's always easy to catch up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's piece of piss to catch up.
And you said before that everyone's got like a multitude of different games they want to play. So if you feel like playing them, just log off for a few weeks or a couple of months and then just pop back again.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm sure one of the reasons they retain so many subscribers and have so many active players all the time is due to that.
Yeah.
You're never into the thing of like, oh, if I don't play this like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I'm going to fall behind.
Yeah.
Like, quite the contrary, you can take breaks and stuff from it and still come up fine. You'll just miss out on a bit of weekly currency, which a couple of patches later on becomes the secondary currency, which you can farm infinitely.
Yeah.
That's good, because whenever I play games like, I think one of the worst ones for that is Destiny 2. It seems like you've just got to play only that forever. If not, you're pretty much screwed. And you can't play with your friends and stuff because you've got to grind your levels up to even play with them. I mean, it might be different now. I haven't played for a few years, but that's one of the reasons I stopped playing that game.
Oh, I mean,
I'd say the only thing you...
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, carry on. No, carry on. Finish.
I mean, I've been playing Destiny 2 recently. I've not played it this week because of COD, but the last few weeks before that I've been playing it, and I had no issues playing with other people, to be honest. I mean, I know I haven't played it for over a year. You know, leveled up my gear.
Well, maybe it's changed. I meant, like raids and strikes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, oh, you're not allowed to play because your level's too low. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I know once a year they do if you buy the expansion, they basically update and reset everyone to a certain level. So maybe this time of year that is. But I remember before I must have spent maybe 20 hours in a week to try and get enough levels so I could play with my friends at the weekend. And I was like,
ridiculous.
no, I don't want to spend that much time just to play with my friends, you know?
No, but and it's not respecting your time,
Yeah, exactly.
and that's why people do fall off games like that. With Final Fantasy 14
seems pick up and play as well.
You can play it like that.
I was going to say the only things you will miss out on would be like when they're holding special events and stuff. Like they've got the All Saints Wake event running at the moment.
Yeah.
Which gets you like glamours and like mounts occasionally or pets, etc. But then they've started putting those in the shop anyway. Like you'll usually be able to pick them up in the Mog Station shop, like sort of 6 months later or whatever. So if someone wasn't around at that point, they can still get hold of it.
Yeah, but if I was to install that, I could pretty much play with you straight away, couldn't I? If I wanted to.
Yeah, I could jump in and do like low level stuff and things.
Exactly. Whereas,
you can always go in and...
I'm not going to, but I'm just saying in theory.
You can as well buy like character skip potions.
Oh yeah,
and stuff,
I get
they
that.
Do a few of those games, but to be honest, you should learn the basics of your class, especially if you're going in as like a tank or a healer. You really need to know what you're doing, otherwise you'll fuck it up for everyone in your group.
That's what I normally do.
Cool.
Well, you got your full set of Abyssos gear anyway, didn't you?
Yeah. I banged it out, man. I did so much.
Just question: do you actually need PS Plus to play that online, or is it just?
No, you don't.
Just
because you're paying a subscription on it already. Yeah.
So it's annoying because when I felt like playing it at the start of the year, they wouldn't let me create a new account because they weren't letting any new people in.
Yeah, I think as well they've both Microsoft and Sony have actually changed their stance, haven't they? If it's a free-to-play multiplayer game, you can still play them without gold or plus.
Oh, right.
Because before you needed, obviously, to have plus or gold to access them, which was kind of a bit shitty.
Yeah.
I mean, we might be talking about the PS Plus and stuff a bit later on in the news.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably to do with them taking a cut of the game's microtransactions instead of paying for Plus.
True, although the ones for 14 are done through their own separate website. You can't access them through the actual PlayStation Network or anything like that.
All right, Nick. Anyway, let's. We talked about Final Fantasy, haven't we? Now I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch 2.
Yeah, it's just Overwatch 1 with a 2 after it.
Yeah, I uninstalled it. It's just, like I said, I've read it. It's exactly the same as the first one, pretty much. It doesn't really look any different.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if people like Overwatch 1 and they really like, they'll probably like this one. But it's just, I don't know if it's just bad on Xbox, because it seems to be on my Xbox. It's just so hard to get a match. You sit there and you click go, in a multiplayer game, and then it just puts a timer up the top, which is mental. And sometimes that goes 10, 15 minutes before I get a match. And this was even Sundays when I uninstalled it completely. I just thought, I'm done. Because I was playing with my mate.
On or off?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you disable crossplay,
Yeah, I can play, but for some reason, I just can't get a game, with my mate. I could play on my own on some of the modes, but there's one which is... like the death match, that I click on that and that just sits there for, I think that I left it and come back and that was like 50 minutes and that didn't get me a game.
Bloody hell.
So I don't know if for sometimes, I tried to Google and look on online and Twitter that they said, we know Xbox players are struggling for this and blah or whatever it is. But yeah, so I wasn't actually enjoying it, and the modes that they have, I'm not really into those sort of modes. Like I say, I'm more Call of Duty, deathmatch, capture the flag, kill confirm, stuff like that. Doing things as a team and you have to have one person as a healer, one person as a tank. I'm like, that's too much, too difficult for my small brain to handle when I just want to shoot people in the face and turn my brain off. But
Sense, mate.
done. Are you done with it as well, Webby?
I played it twice and was like, meh.
Yeah.
It's apparently had some controversy this week over some Halloween event and Halloween skins and stuff.
Oh,
apparently,
really?
yeah, being a bit stingy, and I think they're charging like $20 for a skin, which is like, especially like when you don't actually see the skin because you're in first person. Like you'll obviously get to see them in replays and all the rest of it, but
I see that they've
I
taken
always
one of the
think-
characters out of rotations on May, the ice one.
all
I think
right,
she was too overpowered or something.
she was a beast in the original. Like to be honest, I know a lot of people used to use May. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting, but they're still working stuff out with that because that was had massive issues, didn't it, when it first launched? Because everyone was jumping on it. I think it was like 20 million players, wasn't it, within the first week or two?
Yeah, you had to queue up for fucking ages just to play the game.
And then people would be getting DC'd in the middle of a match, and they'd be stuck in a queue again with like thousands of people.
Yeah. I think it's pretty shit what they did because the original games, you can't play it at all because they turned off the service. So, and shops are still selling it. So you know, your mum could go out and buy it for you. You put the disc in your Xbox, and you can't fucking play.
I got you that Overwatch.
Yeah.
This is the one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whose parents still buy them games? Oh, mine. At least mine buys a good one.
I still own Battleborn. That's a pretty unique coffee coaster.
Isn't that come back? Is it? And they brought that back. I've read something about a game that's been raised from the dead. Was it Battleborn?
Paragon is actually coming back. The old Epic MOBA that they shut down because they wanted to put all of their staff onto Fortnite. But yeah, it's being resurrected as another game because they released all the assets for free out there, and a load of fans of the original game have grabbed hold of a lot of the assets, and they've remade the game. It's now been rebooted, called Predecessor. And it's due to come out on PC and consoles at some point. So it's good that that's getting a re-up because my mate, someone I know, was like a huge fan of it.
Oh, nice.
It's like a really good looking, like third person, like MOBA sort of game.
Nice. Nice. Is it back to me again?
It is indeed.
All right. I've only played two more games. So one of them I'm not going to talk about for very long at all. Gran Turismo 7. Back onto that, and we had a really good night on it on Monday. It's a shame that Tag couldn't join us. He was busy, but myself, Laffer, and Venom had a good time on it, and we played a lot of races online with lots of people from around the world and pwned some Nubensteins. I got pwned. It's still a great game, man. It's just I like before COD came out, I was playing it just single player a little bit because I keep on adding new single player content, which is good. Adding new cars. So I don't think they've added any new tracks though.
I don't really hear, like I've played it, like I play it around my friend's house with his like wheel and rig and stuff. That is really awesome when you play it like that.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of people really talking about it,
No,
like online or anything like that. So I don't know how well the game has actually done. I expect it has done reasonably well. It was March it came out this year.
Yeah. That's
so it's
right,
like over 6 months ago. It feels like it came out longer ago than that.
Yeah.
To be honest, but
I mean, the one thing I will say about it is because like the other week I was trying to play it multiplayer just randomly in the middle of the afternoon, just for something to do, and just I couldn't find any good servers because obviously you make your own room and every single fucking room was shit, and there wasn't that many on the go at all. So I was just being like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then we were chatting about it in the PlayStation Party chat, and we were all saying, I don't know why they don't release it onto PlayStation Plus Premium now. The game's been out for nearly a year, as you say. Like, it'd be a great addition to Premium, surely. Boost the numbers of people playing it, so it would get the community back in, getting some servers on the go. It just seems a bit odd, but they do have another sport mode, but it's like daily races, and you have to be in there at certain times and all that sort of stuff. I think that's quite popular. And I think the single player is quite popular anyway. Because I always add in stuff to it, like new cars, and you need to farm your credits to buy all the exotics and stuff like that. And in my opinion, it is one of the best feeling games with a racing wheel. I've tried to play other racing games,
especially with the force feedback and stuff, and it your wheel starts having a complete judder fest when you're going onto the
but it's just even
on the grass.
It's just even how heavy it feels just turning it. You know what I mean? It feels real. Whereas I play F1 2022 every Wednesday with Frosty, and we did that last week, and we had fun on that, but it just doesn't feel quite right to me on the wheel. And there's a few and the same with Forza. So that's another thing that keeps me going back to Gran Turismo. Apart from the gamer nights on a Monday, it's just how it feels with the racing wheel. It just feels so damn good. And graphically, there's no racing sim that matches Gran Turismo. Even the PC sims don't match it. And as you know, I'm a graphics whore, so that's another tick in the box for me.
I imagine it will probably hit premium after a year.
Yeah,
there might be an uproar when you're chucking it on there 6 months after charging people £70 or $70 or whatever it is for one of their games. I mean, Returnal went on there recently, didn't it? And that was just about a year after it came out.
Yeah, Returnal's on there. Demon Souls is on there.
Ratchet & Clank, is it?
Yeah, some big games on there. Anyway, so I don't see the issue. So yeah, that's me done on that. Who was next? I can't remember if it was Nick or Darren.
There's me. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's got the Halloween event going on. I've already done it. It's been redoing it because there's new rewards and things on there to get. Not exactly thrilling. That game's still trundling along. I think they stated that sold over 20 million copies as well now, which makes it the biggest selling Assassin's Creed.
I still don't understand why you still play it, mate. Seriously, you must have pumped so many hours into that game. You're like a daily machine.
I've still got a few things on there to do, to be honest. I haven't done the latest Teams of the Fallen DLC and stuff.
Wow.
I haven't installed it on mine. I think I put about 12 hours into it at the start of the year, and I thought, I've played this game before. Plus I had to get some space for COD, because that's like 100 odd gig.
Yeah. I don't know how big Assassin's Creed. Well, Valhalla, I think the last time I checked, it was around 110 at least.
Wow.
Yeah. It's quite a hefty game, and because it's a games as a service, they keep adding stuff to it, but then some of the stuff they add to it just causes more issues. You still can't even teleport into the DLC area on the Series X without it just taking you to the same place, even though there's two choices of where you want to go.
Wow.
It's like, do you want to go here or do you want to go to the arena? It's like, oh, I want to go to that place. And then it's like, no, you're going to the arena no matter what you choose. Thanks. Still haven't fixed it.
Wow.
I think they fixed it once. It worked for one day. And then after that, it just went back to fucking random place. And it still kind of bugs me when you've got the daily missions. It did it in some of the other games as well, where you've got to go and assassinate a target and it's on the map.
Yeah.
And then when you teleport on the map to that area, they've moved.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, in reality, the time it would take for you to get there, the characters. And I'm like, look, it's already unrealistic being at a fucking teleport
Yeah.
across the map. Just leave the fucker where they were on the map. Otherwise, you end up zigzagging around the map trying to chase them about.
Yeah.
Pain in the freaking arse. But yeah, that. Trying to think what else. There was something else a bit. Fortnite's got the Fortnite stuff going on. It's like reasonably funny. They did an update on that today, and I'm sure it added in something that was mildly amusing. I found it hilarious. I laughed about it for a good 10 minutes afterwards. So they stupidly put animals into Save the World. So you can be going around doing your mission and you get attacked by a velociraptor or a fucking wolf or some other shite that's just roaming around. It's annoying and stupid, and they've got characters' abilities that tie into those creatures, so they will never be removed from the game, although I'm pretty sure everyone hates them. The only creature that's in the game that's actually useful is the chicken. You can pick it up and jump through the air, and it takes you up really high and then glides down slowly while squawking Flight of the Valkyries, which is quite funny.
Oh, that is funny.
But since it's obviously like Halloween season, I found an undead zombie chicken on one of the levels. And I carried it over to my base, like where everyone was like getting ready to defend. And like the other two guys obviously noticed it and started trying to shoot it, because usually you can shoot it out of your character's hands, and it wouldn't. They couldn't hit it.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, right, mad. So I just let it down in front of them. It went mental and chased this guy across the map.
Oh, brilliant.
Like, I was cracking up as this guy was like running along the map, and you could see him with this little chicken zombie chasing him. And then he went all up this tower, and you could see him going all the way up with his name. And then you could just about see this little chicken running up all the stairs and then running back down again, and the chicken's still chasing. Oh. Yeah, game's fun at times, but yeah, that was mainly just a level I was doing to get V-Bucks, because you can like pocket a ton of V-Bucks if you bought the game back in the early days.
Right.
If you buy it now and get Save the World, you just get tickets. You don't get V-Bucks. It's only like pretty much the founders or the people that bought it within the first year of release that can earn V-Bucks out of certain missions and stuff. So I've probably earned like well over probably £1,000 worth of V-Bucks in total.
Bloody hell. That's
when
insane.
You consider how much it costs you for each of the different bits and bobs, and then I'll just use the V-Bucks to get like 3 new skins every couple of weeks or whatever when they put one out that's decent.
Oh, wow.
If you're into Star Wars, like the original trilogy, they added today, I think it was, Luke, Han, and Leia skins.
Okay.
And they look fucking really good. They look like pretty spot on to like Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and etc.
Well, they already did Indiana Jones, didn't they? So they haven't got much.
Yeah.
They look better than John Cena, who looked like a bloody plasticine model of John Cena.
Yeah, I mean, they've sort of obviously been hit and miss. Like, they've upgraded the engine from Fortnite since its original release. They did it under the hood. So a lot of the newer character models are more detailed and stuff than the older ones. I've also noticed as well, because it's the modern bullshit that women don't really have much up top anymore on the newer character models compared to what they used to have back in the day.
No boobies makes me sad.
Yeah, probably just don't want to offend a few people.
Dear.
But yes, it is something I noticed.
Okay.
But yes, that's basically everything I've pretty much played this week.
Cool. Nick?
Yeah, only one more game. Resident Evil 6. I've been playing that with my mate for 18 months trying to finish it because he's
Fucking
been busy.
hell.
I've been busy. He left Twitch for a bit because he had stuff going on. He's back, but yeah. So we're almost because that's actually quite a meaty game. The amount of campaigns because you've got like what was it? Leon and Helena, Chris and Piers, and you've got Jake and Sherry. So 3 pretty big campaigns that are maybe 5 or so hours each long. And they also chucked in a Ada Wong, which more of a puzzly type one, which they put in release. But yeah, it's a really good game. I mean, we always talk about Resident Evil, and we both agree that 6 is definitely better than 5 and probably better than 4, which is a bit controversial.
Fuck off.
Let me
No, I
finish.
just have to say that 6 is the only Resident Evil game I think I never finished. I played it for about 4 hours, and I was like, "This is shit," and just.
All right. Well, I liked it. So
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's because it's like far more based on like action and co-op and stuff, isn't it? And
yeah, that's why I liked it.
It had infinitely spawning zombies in certain areas, which was like, really?
Was that the one where the media was calling everyone racist? Like the
No, that was 5.
Oh,
because they were in Africa and there was black zombies.
Because you were shooting Africans in Africa, they thought it was racist.
Oh, I remember that was so fun.
But like I said, I enjoyed it, and going back to 4, people forget you can't walk and shoot at the same time, and it is basically an action game. Maybe try and go back and play it. I mean, I tried to play it again, and I just can't get on with it at all. 4. I mean, I played it on the GameCube, and I think I played it on the 360 because they done a HD port then.
I did, yeah.
But then I tried again on Xbox, and I don't know if it's because it's a bad whatever port they've done. I just can't play it. It just plays so bad and slow, and the shooting, the angles don't seem right. I think because all the other games just play better and control better, relevant of, story, whether it's not survival horror enough. I don't know. We just agree that 6 is definitely better than 5, but we both kind of agreed 4.
I mean, you've got to think of 4 was probably Capcom's first go at sort of analog controls for a Resident Evil game, because all the other ones were like isometric view, etc.
Yeah, but it's just,
angles.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand they got to try something new, but that's just basically because you can't shoot and move at the same time, which I think that was more of a design choice than a, limitation of what they were doing. And then they changed it for 6, and it just, and like I said, I think because it's co-op as well. Plus, I like the fact that all the, the stories, all the scenarios link in with each other, which reminds me of 2, where you play as Leon and Claire, and they sort of overlap. And they cross each other. And some of it's, really good. And I don't care. I mean, people were giving this 3 out of 10, which is when I sort of started giving up on magazines and review people on YouTube like IGN and stuff like that. I was like, no way is this a 3 out of 10 game. You are shitting me. You give this.
It was the best-selling Resident Evil game.
Yeah,
even though it's a lot of people's least favourite.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a lot of people's least favourite, or just because it got poor reviews. That's what they say. At the end of the day,
to be more of an action game rather than a survival horror, and RE is a survival horror first.
I wouldn't say that because, like I said, it tried to do everything and please everyone, but then seemed to piss off quite a few people. I'll say the Leon and Helene, I think that's her name, Helena. I might be butchering that because we didn't play this a while ago. But that was the survival horror, zombies walking around in the dark, jump scary type game. The Chris and Piers is the actiony one. And then, Jake and Sherry.
Ashley, is it?
No, Sherry.
Oh, Sherry.
Sherry from Resi 2 in this one. Yeah, that's more of the stealthy one where you're getting chased by, I think it's Ushtanak, but that's basically Nemesis. but with machine guns on his arms instead of rocket launchers. And Ada was just pure puzzles. So I was saying it's like they tried to please everyone and end up at least offending someone who liked each and every one. But then, like I said, it's best selling Resident Evil game ever, so the people have spoken. It's the best Resident Evil game ever.
Have you seen any of the Yeah, I was going to say, have you seen any of the RE4 remake stuff yet?
Yeah, it looks okay, and I'd rather wait to play that than 4. You know, the 4 I've got. I mean, I did try and play it again recently.
There's no point going back to the original 4 now.
Well, no, but I also think it's I mean, I was arguing with someone, lady, who I always argue with. That's what I do, and because there's no difficulty mode in the PS4 and Xbox version, you just hit play, and I think it's an adaptive one. So basically, I've got to the point where I have no bullets, no ammo, and I'm getting attacked by loads of people, and I just can't get rid of them. And it's not the type of game where in original Resi you can avoid the enemies, because it's quite corridory. You know, you can't really get past them that well. But she says, oh, if you get to a certain point, it unlocks the different difficulty settings. But I'm
sure I got the Chicago typewriter, and I think that's a difficulty-based gun.
Yeah.
Rather than a time trial version.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, maybe I don't know if I can install the 360 version on the Xbox One. I think I'd have to play that on the 360. So I'll go back to that, and maybe I'll try it on the 360 and see if that's any better. But anyway, I like 6. 6 is my favourite. I've got Steel.
Even thinking about it, the GameCube did have, in theory, 2 analogs, but one of them was that yellow nubby fucking thing. So.
Oh no, it did work. You could walk. You walked with one, and you could move the gun with the other, just not at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why it was just weird. Because. But yeah, good game. But that's me done.
All right. The only other game I've got to talk about is Tale Requiem, which hit Game Pass on launch day. And for those of you that listened to the podcast a few years ago, you will know that I love the original Plague Tale. And this is a direct sequel, so I do think that to get the most out of the experience of this game, you need to play the original, to be honest. I
was going to ask that. Yeah, it looks nice, though.
Yeah, Colin was telling me, though, that the original game isn't on Game Pass. You'd need to buy the first one.
You should be able to pick it up for about a tenner, I'd imagine.
It was. I know it was. I don't know if maybe they've I can't believe they'd take it off just as the new one's coming out. That's a weird thing to do.
It's just the deals, because I'm pretty sure I didn't buy the original. I played the original on Game Pass, so it's obviously come off at some point. Anyway, this is a direct sequel, so it carries on the story with the 2 main characters, which is fantastic. The girl and the boy, and the boy's got this kind of disease thing that brings all the rats. So basically, the gist of the game is you need to find a cure for him, but then you get into a lot of situations where it's like a puzzle game where you need to get through the rats, because the rats don't like light or fire, and you need to sneak past a lot of enemy like soldiers and stuff as well. So it's quite a heavy puzzle game, but the graphics on it are absolutely gorgeous. Now, there was a little bit of controversy when it launched a couple of weeks ago, because it's out on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X as well as PC. But the game is locked to 30 FPS on the PlayStation and the Xbox. So social media was like, "Oh, this isn't next gen. It's it's limited to 30 FPS." And I'm sitting back and I'm like,
it's a small development team as well. It's not like a big AAA studio or anything.
Well, I'm sitting back.
I doubt they'd be up on there with all of the optimization and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm sitting back and I'm like, it's a single player experience. They want the graphics to be as good as they can be. I think for the graphical fidelity, limiting it to 30 FPS isn't really a big deal for a single player story driven game. However, I can
It's
see the
not
other side.
combat fueled, is it? So
Yeah. I can see why people are upset though, because, when the Series X and the PlayStation 5 were advertised before they came out, I think they were false advertised because they were all being advertised as 4K 120 FPS
oh no,
gaming
I've got
monsters.
8K on the box of my PS5.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. I can't even get 4K in a lot of the games. So like 8K is just a load of bullshit. And I was saying, so I went on to the Twitter, and Twitter, by the way, is
8K
so much better
Pac-Man.
now. Saying, can I shout out, I told you so, because people were giving it, oh yeah, my console can do 120 FPS 4K. No game can do 4K 120 FPS at all. And now you're getting these really lovely looking games, but they're limited to work to 30 FPS. Just get over it. Yeah, it's not going to happen. If you want the graphical fidelity, you're going to have to suck it up. And because it looks gorgeous, it really, really does. Like the just the world just looks gorgeous. Like there's a city, and it's set in like medieval times or whatever, and it's just like everyone in the street looks really good. You're in the market, everything just looks so realised and lush. You just get really drawn into it, and it's just that world building, the voice acting, the characters, they just look amazing. And the puzzles I've played as well. Like, I've played it for about 4 or 5 hours. It's a 20-hour game according to the internet, so about a quarter of a way through, and absolutely loving it. But obviously, dropped off it since COD came out. But yeah, so it's a gorgeous game. I'm actually playing it on PC at 120 FPS just to rub salt into the wounds of the Xbox players. But it's it's a fucking great game. It really, really is. But it's hard to really talk about too much without spoiling the story. So, as I say, all I can say is graphics good, lighting good, music good, puzzles awesome. Can be a bit freaky with the rats. But yeah, I'm loving it.
Isn't that what's basically caused them to lock it because of the amount of rats that are on screen flapping about?
Well, it could be because there is a lot going on at times. There really, really is. It's, I say, it looks gorgeous, and then like you've got big sections where there is like literally thousands of rats on screen. So yeah, it could be a part of it, Darren, for sure.
Is there a Roland rat mod on PC?
Maybe that would be pretty funny, wouldn't it? Yeah. So I can't really say anything much else on it because I've not finished it or anything. So yeah, all good. Shall we get into the news?
Yep.
Well, since we're talking about Game Pass stuff at the minute, might as well get into some Game Pass news. Phil Spencer did an interview online, and he's been hinting that Xbox consoles and Game Pass memberships may see price hikes in the future. I think this might have been taken a bit out of context, though, because I think he's talking about quite far ahead in the future, to be honest. It's not going to be in the, the near future, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
The numbers have also stagnated, haven't they?
Wow. I do have the numbers in front of me because this was another interesting piece of news. So, Xbox Game Pass has seen a 30% growth in the last year. PC Game Pass has seen a 160% growth, which is amazing because PC Game Pass is fucking amazeballs.
Yeah, my mate loves it.
Yeah.
He's got rid of all his consoles and just gone PC and Game Pass.
Good lad. He's a man after my own heart. But whereas PlayStation Plus has lost 2 million subscribers.
Yeah, because it's a crap service.
What is going on?
This doesn't include, apparently, the new tiers of PlayStation Plus.
Oh, does it not? So these numbers fudged then?
Because I've heard different sources. I heard Xbox are disappointed in the fact that they're not gaining as many Game Pass subscribers as they hoped for.
Really? Yeah, 30% growth is fucking good. Yeah,
that's over a year, but you don't know when that was counted from. Because obviously everything got a bump from last year because of COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously the thing with the PlayStation one, 2 million down. But then again, if you look at the free games you get through PlayStation Plus, it's like, what the fuck is that? Like, if you think of what kind of games you got with PS Plus in its inception back in the day, to what you get now, it's like, oh, you get some like random indie game you've never heard of, and some game that fell off the back of a lorry 2 years ago.
Yeah, the original PlayStation Plus was basically what Game Pass is now.
Well, PlayStation Plus Premium,
all the Uncharted, everything.
Premium's £100 a year. So it's cheaper than Game Pass anyway. And some of the games on it are admittedly decent, I have to say, but they're very few. Whereas PlayStation aren't utilising their back catalogue. I mean, the games they have for PS1 and PS2 games, their selection is fucking rubbish compared to what it could be. Yeah. I just don't get it. And once you've played through the 3 or 4 really good single player games that are on PlayStation Plus Premium, you're like, well, why am I paying for this service? It doesn't make sense. So, yeah. Oh, and just talking about Xbox and PlayStation as well. Phil Spencer, obviously, there's this whole battle in the UK about Microsoft buying out Activision is still going on. PlayStation giving it, crying like little babies. Phil's actually had an interview and said that Call of Duty will carry on being released on PlayStation until there is no PlayStation. So
it doesn't make any sense for them not to. Like, if you looked at the numbers of the game sales, was it over 50% of the sales of the new COD were on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Like, that's literally, if you stop that, you're cutting off half of the numbers of your, at least, of sales for your game. And if you're a person who owns that game, you're going to want those numbers still coming in, especially if you're taking longer breaks between each iteration of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but they've done it before. People forget that's Microsoft, not Xbox, which is, I know, kind of the same thing, but it's not. When they bought Minecraft, they said, we're not going to stop it being on PlayStation and Nintendo and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they did it. So why would they be getting salty about them doing it now? Oh, they're lying. They say we're going to have it, but they'll go back on it. Well, it's a business decision. They're in it to make money. They're not going to cut their nose off to split their face. It's just, like I say, Sony being whiny little bitches because there's a bigger boy in the playground and they got more money than them.
Well, there was talk, wasn't there, of like they were trying to get them to compromise by saying that if Microsoft do buy Call of Duty, they aren't allowed to put it on Game Pass.
Yeah, but they have paid other companies to not put games on Game Pass.
Well, that's what Sony are truly worried about is Game Pass because
everyone will jump ship to thingy. There are people out there. I mean, as much as we all play a multitude of different games, there are people out there that just literally play Fortnite, FIFA, and Call of Duty every year, and that's it. They don't give a shit about anything else.
Yeah.
And if you're obviously going to be getting Call of Duty for free. And obviously EA have got a tie-in now, haven't they, with Xbox? Fortnite's already free anyway. There's a massive chance that you're going to lose a load of people to the other system.
Well, you say that it's not free. Like Game Pass is like what, £14 a month. If Call of Duty comes out say every 2 years, it's actually cheaper for you to buy the game than to pay a subscription for 2 years. Yeah. But Sony are worried about COD coming to Game Pass because they know that people will jump ship, as you say, because you can guarantee, they'll have it on Game Pass and then they'll be like, oh yeah, they'll give you like the Vault Edition on Game Pass and then loads of like free credits or something as well to buy skins and shit. You can see it happening.
Yeah, but Game Pass is perfect for parents and kids, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just all those games, they come and go. Oh, can I have this new game? No, go on your Game Pass. Done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've only got one more piece of news that I could find. Oh no, actually about COD. I didn't mention this when I talked about COD. If you buy the game on disc on PlayStation 5, it only has 70 meg of data.
I think it's about the same on Xbox as well.
So you literally
buy
Xbox
it generally is, yeah.
Yeah. So you put the disc in and then it's like a download key. And that's it. That's hilarious, isn't it?
It was a pain. I mean, the reason I got it was £12 cheaper to buy it on disc than it was, digitally. So I know you still, theory, haven't got anything, but if I decided the game was crap, I could sell it for money.
Oh, yeah, you can sell it.
So it does have value, whereas digital doesn't have value. But it was a pain because I installed it. I think it was about 40-something gig. And then it was another update, which was another 20-something. And then I got into the actual game, agreed to all their terms and conditions, all that crap. And it was like, and I clicked play, and it went, we've got to download another 9 gig update. I was like, seriously? So that was my Call of Duty Friday night.
That's fucking mad.
90 gig of download/updates. I was like, but it is what it is, isn't it? There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Just not buy it. There you go. Job done.
Well, I didn't. My dad bought it for me. Keep up with it.
True.
I normally buy it a year later for a tenner.
Oh man, such a good game.
I'm playing it right now. My 30 gig update is done.
Yeah. So, what's my last bit of news? Oh yeah. So for those of you that never played the original Witcher game because it was PC only and didn't even have controller support, there's a remake being worked on in Unreal 5, in the engine Unreal 5. So it's going to look fucking gorgeous. It's being made from the ground up. So there's no date or anything on that. It's just come out news that it's being worked on. That is all.
Yeah,
cool.
I thought they were supposed to be making a Witcher 3 4K next gen thing.
They are still. I think it's coming at some point soon.
Why don't they just work on Witcher 4?
Well, they are doing that as well, aren't they? They've got a load of projects on the go. I think they're kind of becoming a bit too big, CD Projekt Red, in a way. Like they're working on a lot of multiple things, and they also announced on a video that they're working with ESG, which isn't good whatsoever. But there we go.
Also,
ESGR, to be honest.
It's basically like a government regulation of you must tick this box, you must tick that box.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's like a social credit score thing for businesses.
Okay.
Run by powerful people. But yeah, they also did say when they announced this Witcher thing, the dreaded words that can be taken in different directions depending. Reimagined for a modern audience.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So either that means you're going to have a lot of things in the game toned down, or it could be we're updating the controls to modern standards.
Weird.
Or a mixture of the two, which is basically what they've done with Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Yeah.
They've toned stuff down, and they've also modernise the controls a bit.
Yeah. That's all my news anyway. You guys got anything else you want to add news-wise?
Yeah, I was just going to say about Witcher. It was Henry Cavill's not gonna. He's now left apparently, so he's not coming back for season 3.
Yep.
And I mean, that was on
season 4.
season 4. Sorry, yeah, he's now fit. Well, whatever. But yeah, apparently the guys who are in charge of the Netflix show have never played the game and never read the books, and they don't care. Apparently, I don't know how.
Yeah, this just seems up because he's
why I think he's
big-
left. That's
Yeah.
why he's left because
they're
massive
changing.
fan.
Yeah, they're changing. Basically, I think throughout the whole thing, he's been like, "Yeah, but this is in the books. You know, Geralt wouldn't do that. This is not how. This is not what the law is." And they're like, "Shut up, Superman. Do as you're told." Pretty much.
So who's
So I think-
taken
Games
over?
have got changes from the books anyway.
So who's
but
the actor taking over? I can't remember his name. Sorry.
Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah,
He
Liam
looks nothing
Hemsworth.
like him, does he?
Well,
it would be interesting to see with all the makeup on and stuff, but
yeah, stick a wig on him, it'll be fine.
I honestly don't know why they keep hiring all these random people to make franchises and they don't even give a shit about them or even know what those franchises actually are or what they're about.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like we saw it with Halo.
Yes.
And obviously, I know a lot of people were pissed off with The Witcher Season 2. I gave up on The Witcher partway through Season 1 because some of the character castings were like, you ain't this fucking character.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, still here.
Sorry, I thought you cut out then.
No. Yeah, I think they've done the same thing, haven't they, with the Last of Us show? I think that's, again, like, possibly not following the books and they're adding characters and stuff to it that weren't in the game.
Oh, fucking hell.
So, yeah, expect the same old shit from that, possibly. I'll probably be giving it a wide berth anyway, so...
Yeah.
Is the Halo one finished? I only watched about 10
Season
minutes.
2's starting filming already.
Oh, really?
I thought
Even though everyone hated Season 1, so, like, good luck with that. But I think they'd committed to it at least being 2 seasons, so they're basically under contract to do another one.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, there was an investment call this week from Square Enix, where they were basically announcing all these different statistics for a lot of their titles and their games, etc. I think they stated something like Final Fantasy franchise has sold around 180 to 190 million units.
Wow.
In general. But again, annoyingly, they stated in this earnings call thing that they can no longer sustain making games solely for a Japanese market, so they're going to try and make more games catering to a worldwide audience.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Is not what any Square Enix fan wants to hear whatsoever.
No.
Because, and all the games they were talking about as well in their top selling games, they're all Japanese franchises.
And like, isn't it?
As we saw from like their previous things, like most of the games they brought out under like Western banners like Marvel's Avengers, etc., they all bombed.
Yeah.
So it's again just puzzling.
Yeah.
And obviously the worry of like, you're gonna like they're obviously still gonna carry on making like the Final Fantasies and Dragon Quest and all that kind of stuff, but if they're gonna start westernizing all of those up, it's gonna put people off.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to play westernized versions. I mean, I'm interested with Final Fantasy 16, which is highly influenced by like Western thing, but it's still got a Japanese feel to it.
Yeah.
In the way like the characters are presented and probably the storyline and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really want to see that with every game. And their next sort of game aimed at a Western audience is that Forspoken, which, albeit, looks a lot better each time I see it, and I'm
Yeah, it
getting
does look decent.
quite
Yeah.
interested in that game. But is it going to do particularly well for them?
Yeah. Who knows?
That's due out in January. And there were a lot of people going, oh, they're talking about they're going to have to start releasing games on Xbox and stuff more. Well, I hate to break it to you, but apparently Sony have bought more shares in the company
Oh, for
and have
fuck's sake.
more of a say now on like controlling decisions, basically. So expect probably more timed exclusivity on a lot of Square Enix products and games.
Right, yeah, because like Final Fantasy VII Remake never came to Xbox. Final Fantasy 16's not coming to Xbox. And it's just like, why? Like, it's like, what's going to...
I mean, you can always think back to even back in the days when why wasn't Final Fantasy VII on the Sega Saturn? Why was it only on the PlayStation?
Yeah, I know you're saying.
Like, if you go way back, I know, like, you get all these people that froth and scream and leap about over exclusivity, but to be honest, most exclusives are made far better than a lot of other games because they're solely made for one system. Um, and if you go way back through, like, gaming history, there were way more exclusives back in the day.
People just seem to bitch about it a lot more now.
Yeah, because they expect everything to be on everything, and that's not the case. Although, yet Nintendo still apparently get a free pass. It's only usually if Sega or Microsoft, Sony or Microsoft do it. Sorry, that people make a big deal. But I wouldn't fully give up hope on seeing Final Fantasy remake on Xbox. I just think they might pop it out around the time they put the second game out on PlayStation.
I just don't think it'll sell well on Xbox now because most fans would have bought a PlayStation just for that fucking game. That's what Sony bet on, isn't it?
Well, that's the other thing. I raised like one of the comments on the thing was like, "Oh, well, they'd make loads more money if they put their games on Xbox," and it's like that's not the case. Like, yeah, you might be a massive JRPG fan on Xbox, but you are literally like such a minuscule amount of like the Xbox's audience now.
Yeah.
Like, basically, they fucked up after not capitalizing on the momentum they had with the 360 in Japan.
Yeah.
They had like very good support in Japan with the 360. Like, fair enough, the machine didn't particularly perform amazingly well over there, but it had a big following. You'd go in at a ton of shops, and it'd have their own gaming sections and stuff for Xbox games, and they had a ton of exclusive Japanese games on the system as well.
Yeah.
But then when the Xbox One came out, it's like they didn't give a shit. You can probably pin it down to old fucking Don Matrick or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Who was heading up the division at the time. Because basically Phil Spencer's been running around trying to pick up all the fucking pieces ever since he left.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out ways of getting more and more people onto the platform and the ecosystem and stuff. And obviously that was where Game Pass and all that kind of stuff came out.
Yeah.
Stemmed from. But yeah, you're still getting Crisis Core and multiple systems, etc. So
yeah, true.
It's not everything.
Yeah.
It's just going to be select titles. I believe that you will eventually see Final Fantasy XIV on the Xbox. They've talked about it enough. I can guarantee you Square Enix want to do it because they're going to have more subs.
Yeah. 100%, man. Cool. Any other news?
There was something that broke earlier on about Embracer Group, the company that bought up a load of things like EDOS, was it, when they were all sold off?
Yeah.
They've decided, like, one of the big publishing things they renamed 3 weeks ago is closing. They're closing it down.
Bloody hell, it didn't take long. Wow.
But yeah, it was just kind of breaking earlier. Old Jason Schreier was talking about it on Twitter. I just basically scanned over it briefly, but yeah, there has been some closures and things moving from somewhere to somewhere else.
Wow.
And there was a huge moan from, I think it was like Corey Barlog. Apparently some shop had been selling physical copies of God of War 2 weeks before it's out.
Oh, it's out in a couple of weeks, is it? I didn't even know the release date of it, to be honest.
It's out on the 11th of this month, so 10 days' time.
Wow, not long at all.
Nope.
Wow.
So we're into the snowball effect now.
Yeah,
And
I won't
it's
be picking it
not going to
up.
stop.
I kind of
But I've
like
got it on order.
70 quid. I mean, 70
Buy it
quid for a single
physically,
player
mate. You
game.
won't be playing. Buy it physically. You won't pay 70 quid. You'll pay like 50 something.
Be like 60 quid and then bang it out and then sell it. I don't know if I can be asked, mate, to be honest.
It's in 2 weeks' time. They're really like the hype's everywhere. You're like, oh, I picked it up. I went
You
down
know me too
Tesco's. I
well,
used my
yeah.
club card points.
Yeah. Complete it in 2 days and sell it to CEX.
Yeah, I'm sure as well, while we've been possibly recording, there's been a release date announcement for Atomic Heart as well.
Oh, bloody hell, nice.
And I think it's February next year.
Oh, it's not far away at all.
Why February? Like,
It's
that
so much
month
out.
is so packed. So packed, February. Like, it'd have done better in March, but obviously you won't have to worry if you're on Game Pass because it's going to be on that day one anyway. So
Love a bit of
I'll
Game
just
Pass,
have to
mate.
hope there's a physical copy flapping about.
I think you just need to suck it up and subscribe to Game Pass, mate. Just do it.
No,
You know
I'm
you
not
want
paying
to.
money for something I don't own and is worthless.
Oh, dude. Just rent.
I'm talking to someone who's never paid for a single digital song, digital film, nothing.
But you've bought DLC.
I've bought DLC for games I physically own, yes.
Oh, mate, you just need to stop living in the past, man. Get with the times.
What, in the future you'll own nothing and be happy? Yeah, great times.
Well, the Great Reset is coming, mate. You heard it here second after Alex Jones. Yeah, I've
Loads of
never.
people actually talk about the Great Reset, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. I mean, I've never been adverse to renting anyway, because you remember the 360 era, I used to rent all my games anyway through Boomerang.
Mm.
So it's not really, it's a good way of saving money if you're just going to bang games out. Which is what I do. So, yeah. Cool. Any other news? Or are we at that point?
So Sony have announced they've sold 25 million PS5s.
It's a lot of PS5s.
I think they're picking up production as well on newer stuff.
Oh, nice.
Well, because obviously there was a huge chip shortage when they ground everything down pretty quickly during the pandemic. Which is almost like the worst possible time for new systems to be launched.
Yeah.
The worst and the best, we'll just say.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. There's been no questions this week. So we're pretty much at that point, I guess, guys. We'll end it here.
February 21st of February.
Well, there
Atomic
we go.
Heart.
21st of February. My Game Pass will be happy. Cool. Oh, and dudes, we'll end it here. It's been awesome. Yeah. So for me, Mark Webb, Gamertag, Piston ID, Steam ID, Webby, 360G.
Nick Fights on Twitter and Twitch.
And Sensei Switch.
Awesome. So we are recording our Xbox 360 special part 2 on the weekend. So expect that out Tuesday next week. To listen to that, you need to subscribe to the Patreon. So sign up over at patreon.com/360gamercast. So from everyone here, it's been awesome. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Goodbye.